Yeah.
Okay, so there was a state of play. And Sony's the first one out of the big Mamma Jammas publishers to show their big guns. And yeah, they showed some pretty big guns. I thought this was a really good showcase for them.
Yeah.
Do I think they did say beforehand this is more dedicated to the third parties, not the first parties, so I believe that's correct. But either way, granted, it's looking very promising for PlayStation 5 owners, as now it feels like it's good to have a PS5 now.
It's easing into must-own territory.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. So let's talk about the game that's been rumored for a long time, but we knew it wasn't really rumored. It was just going to happen anyways because due to the track record of every other remake been doing very well. That is RE2, RE3, and RE8, not a remake, but still successful in its own way. So it was no brainer that 4 was going to come. We just didn't know when it was going to come. And from the beginning, it was a very big split of this game's not old enough to be remade, per se. There was a group of, it was great, why mess with it? And now to the group of, okay, we'll be quiet.
It comes to, people who are complaining is like, this doesn't need to be remade. It doesn't need to be remade. Do Code Veronica instead. It's like those.
I agree though. I agree with that too.
True.
I agree with that too.
To say that's not going to come in the next couple of years, but those same people are like, when the time comes and RE4 remake drops, they're going to get it. They're going to buy it.
I will say this right off the jump, where if you are an old school Resident Evil person, good for you. But to me, if they're keeping this record going of remaking all these Resident Evil, it makes me feel like I have no intention to go back and play old ones ever again. If these are basically the better ones, especially if they do Zero in the future, because like I like Zero a lot, so I hope they touch Zero in the future for it.
Especially if they make it multiplayer.
Yeah, either way, I don't care as long as they touch it and give it the same treatment as all these games, because Zero. It's actually a pretty interesting game if you haven't had a chance to play it. But RE4 though, I like RE4. I played it when it first came out on the GameCube. Never got to play the PS2.
Didn't miss much.
Yeah, I mean it's bonus like weapons and whatnot. And then later on they got HD editions. The game has been on everything. I mean that game is beloved. It's up there as like a beloved, like, granted, Skyrim that has been ported everywhere, Grand Theft Auto 5 that has been everywhere, and now we're getting this. And one thing I was skeptical about Resident Evil 4 was, what are they going to do really that's kind of different from it? And yes, there is some stuff that looks like it's playing like play by play for what it is, but we did see some things that look a little bit different that I hope that changes the flow. I hope that when you're playing it, that there is going to be some twists and turns on the way there. The one question also too is the quick time events disappearing from this game? We don't know, which I hope it does, because it was fun in the moment, but to me, I don't miss it enough to like, it gotta be in there, in my opinion.
I mean, if they do keep it, they'll probably add a twist some way, or maybe they'll give you the option. Do you want to do old school QTE or whatever?
I disagree, because if the QuickTime events was so popular since 4, 5, and 6, we would have seen it in the remake of 2 and 3. They could have done it. I think it just the QTE saga has kind of drifted and left behind in those particular games. I don't see it happening here, and I don't think anybody really wants it here, in my opinion.
I mean, it's not going to be missed. No, I'm not dying to have it.
Nice.
It's one of those things where Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake were remakes, and they were remixes. But whether people liked it or not. 2 added some additional areas, but it also took away some things that people wanted. 3 took a lot of things away that people wanted. They wanted the clock tower. They wanted to explore more, feel like they could explore more of the city and feel like they were actually properly hunted by nemesis instead of set pieces. So who knows what they will remix and remake in 4 that will either piss people off or not. Maybe
Mhm.
they'll make it a little bit more open wandering, maybe, or maybe you'll still feel like you're on rails. Who's to say?
Yeah, but there's not a lot that they shown. They really showed more the environment. We haven't really
Yeah.
saw exactly gameplay yet, and hopefully the next time we see it, we'll get some surprises because Resident Evil 4 had some interesting surprises. It'll be interesting how they implement them, especially when it came to, like you said, set pieces. Resident Evil 4 had a lot of set pieces. Because the one I'm not going to be very excited for, that's going to happen towards the end of Resident Evil 4, was the knife fight, QTE moment.
Yeah.
I hope that gets taken away and they use him, the antagonist, for that particular part, as a person that might hunt you down or come at certain times for you. Because you can have a game, this game can have a character that can hunt you down. They have a character that can come in the right moments. I mean, you got the chainsaw guy, you got the big tall guy that turns into
El Gigante.
that turns into a giant centipede, if I'm correct. You have the giant ogres. So there's a lot. There's a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're talking about the chief whose torso separates and turns into that centipede.
Yeah.
El Gigante, the big ogre with the dog that helps you, and there's a lot of really cool set pieces that I wouldn't mind seeing how they jazz it up.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm correct here, because I never got a chance to play 2 and 3, so you have gone through those, but it'll be interesting how this game you will be accompanied by an AI. Right, because in 2 and 3 remake, you don't get accompanied by AI most in that game at all, or do you do sometimes? What? Tell me.
No, in 2, if you're accompanied by someone, it's during a transitional, like a playable cinematic, like Ada or Sherry. So it's not something where you have to protect them.
Okay.
Same thing with 3. You don't have to worry about that. So 4. With the AI, Ashley, and you've played the original 4.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first, if not maybe the only instance of an AI escort that wasn't infuriating.
Right.
Or wasn't totally infuriating to play.
Mm-hmm. That basically you had commands per se based on certain areas that you walk to. You walk near a dumpster, you can tell her to go hide in there, or there's a button where enemies come in, she can tell her to duck. You can tell her to stay and all this. So hopefully in Resident Evil 4, they will double the ante and have her more functional stuff to do. Maybe have a weapon. And be involved in a certain thing. Maybe she'll be part of set pieces that can bring her shine into the game a little bit more. Like
the standoff in that house with what's his face? With the guy you meet up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the little like kind of Napoleon wannabe guy. You're talking about
no, the standoff in the house at night.
You're talking about when it becomes like the Evil Dead kind of per thing. Yeah, everybody's coming that door. Yeah.
And you're working with that other guy.
Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. That'll be interesting to see how they pulled that off for what they do for there. But we have to remember that Resident Evil 4 compared to 2 and 3 that game really goes far. I mean, you're going from a village to a castle to a base. It's a lot of stuff. So it'll be interesting what they add for it. I'm actually pretty excited because it makes me really want to go play 2 and 3 and 8 to kind of just mentally get prepared for 4 that's coming out in March. I think March 24th, 2023, I believe they said.
March 24th or March 23rd, 2023.
I want to say March 24th to go with Resident Evil 4. That's the reason why I think it's March 24th.
I was about to say it's like 17 or 18 years after the original release.
Well, yeah. Mine is re-release every year.
I will say, and Resident Evil 4 Remake is not going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive. I don't think it's coming out on the PS4, but it'll come out on the PC.
I think it's coming out on Xbox. I believe so too.
And Xbox Series, the Xbox Series. But as far as is it coming out on PS4 to accommodate?
Last gen.
I think Capcom's not going to accommodate last gen on this one.
No, I think 8 probably is the last Resident Evil for the last. I thought Resident Evil 8 was on PS4 also.
Yeah, I think. I don't even think it was on. I don't even think it was on PS5. Was it?
No, I think it's on both.
I mean, I know you could definitely play it on the PS5 one way or the other, but no, you're right. It was on PS5.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 Remake being one of the games because Sony said they were going to support PS4 for another year or two, about 2 more years.
I heard 2025, but don't quote me on that. So,
I mean, it makes sense. PS4 is still selling like gangbusters. Probably because that's the one reliable console people can
also,
get.
too, I think what they meant by support, I mean, they're going to keep it alive and it'll probably be just embedded with, a bunch of indie developers on it now. PlayStation will move on, but I don't think they're going to make any more games for PS4 per se.
Yeah. I'm still, I mean, this goes a long way towards making a PS5 a must-buy. I think if we get about 4 more hard-hitting titles, it'll be a must-buy in my eyes. Because remember, what PS5 came out 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were talking back and forth then. It's like, oh man, is it a must-buy? Is it a buy for you? And I told you I'm going to wait a couple of years. So. Yeah,
and plus with the rumor of new models coming soon too, that could definitely change the game up for how that works. On top of, since we're talking about Sony, before we go into that, there is some updates for Resident Evil. Resident Evil Village is coming to VR, so you can check that out over there if you're a VR fan. So that's pretty cool.
There's a whole PSVR 2 section in the State of Play that was getting everybody hyped for, Village,
Horizon Mountain, Horizon
Call of the Mountain.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil 8 where you can dual wield a shotgun and a pistol and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's cute. I say it's cute because it's like, Yeah. But it's good that VR 2. I will say, if you're going to get a PS5, I would wait till either they do a hardware refresh where you get a PS5 Pro or a big package VR 2 with the PS5 and like some PSVR games like the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the perfect time to snag one if there are enough available.
So with that, I mean, I'm not really in the VR. You don't have a VR. So all those games at VR, cool announcement for people that have VR. It does nothing for me yet, but it's cool that PlayStation is kind of doubling down and really showing that they're behind this VR for the near future.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks that if I wanted to get into VR, I mean, I have VR for the PC, but if I wanted to get into VR on the PlayStation, I can't really. They don't really sell those units for the 4. You can't really just go out and buy a unit for the 4. It's like, I'm not saying it's a low print run, but it definitely wasn't something that I just saw at my local Best Buy every day. So I hope with this, that's the thing. I hope with this they push it harder. They push it much harder because I did play a little PlayStation VR at a friend's house years ago. Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was really fun. It was really immersive. So I don't know. So we're getting Horizon, I almost said Call of Duty, Village, and No Man's Sky in VR, for PSVR 2. There's a lot of good stuff. They're pushing that.
Okay, let's go into the next bigger one before we get into the ones that kind of stood out to me more, but let's go into Final Fantasy 16. I mean, this is the one that people have been kind of waiting for. They even made an announcement of, sorry, we don't have a trailer yet. We're still trying to get the finishing touches. This game's coming out summer 2023. Resident Evil 16, with all the footage and everything, does this excite Jeremy Evans? Kinda? Kinda?
I know we were talking about a lot of Resident Evil. You said Resident Evil 16. I was like, man, we're going to be in our 50s before that happens.
Did I say Resident Evil 16? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah,
though.
But Final Fantasy 16. Kinda. I mean, I guess when I saw
you a little bit.
I guess a little bit. People, it's funny. I think that for me personally, maybe I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan as overall as I think I am. Or I want to be, because I just feel like there's always something there that they're going in a direction that just doesn't entice me. Mainly because the developers, I believe some of the developers that did 13 are part of this, and I wasn't the biggest fan of 13. And even some of the battle system they showed us kind of gives me a 13 kind of feel in that aspect. And basically, in a nutshell, by the way the game looks, it looks like that it's basically really dedicated towards the summonings in this story, where I believe your character has something to do with one of the summons, Ifrit, if I had to guess. But this game looks like so far that it looks like it's like a single player, super action pack hack and slash game. Which, by the way, based on research, I went to the website, and you'll never believe this. The person that the combat design is the same person that helped do Devil May Cry, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, all of this stuff. So it makes perfect sense why this game looks like a very Devil May Cry-ish kind of game.
Very intense, fast-paced.
Yeah, very fast-paced and everything like that. And by the looks of the game, it looks good. I would lie and say that the still pictures look awesome than the gameplay that I saw, because with the still pictures, it looks graphically awesome looking, but the gameplay looks kind of meh a little bit graphically. But then again, I mean, it could be honestly, it could be my fault. Maybe my TV is just not like there for the wow factor to blow me away. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose some of the wow factor in the compression to play across YouTube, stream across YouTube. So that's one thing to see it there, another thing to actually see it on a nice screen.
I will say that this game looks way more appealing to me than what 15 was doing for me, based off the bat for this one. I don't know if I feel like I wanted to do a single player one, because you know me, I told you about Final Fantasy that I kind of prefer the turn-based more than this like action-based kind of style for it. I think that, but I did say that this is where they wanted to be since the beginning. It's just been a slow path to get to that point. But I think they always wanted to get to the action.
Yeah, since
RPG.
12.
Yeah. Or hell, 11. But
11. It's been MMO.
Yeah, they've been trying to get to that point. And people that did Final Fantasy 14 Reborn, or some of the people that are doing this game. And a lot of people also say like it feels like an old style Final Fantasy game, to the point of the story maybe, but not the gameplay. The story feels like it's old school because of the fact that like this is like kind of the dawn of the crystal being made, but also these are the dawn of these beasts finally being made for what it was. But gameplay wise and the outlook of the game does not look like a classic Final Fantasy game to me personally. But
no, I mean the most of it is the medieval setting. I didn't see one damn airship or weird steampunk edition, which I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying this will be the first time since probably 9? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 9 that it's been like almost maybe 9 or whatever, that it's been more based on the medieval fantasy than anything weird.
But before I let you put your input, there's one thing that did bother me about the trailer. Now that I thought about it and re-looked and rewatched it again. They showed so much of this main character kicking ass through this whole thing, and mostly humans and maybe some monsters, that I wish we saw some more variety of monsters that he fought. And I actually wanted to see him get hit by one of them. Like, I don't know what the library of the catalog that is Final Fantasy that are going to make it on this list that he is going to fight, where it feels like, should the monsters be in here? Like, for instance, everybody knows that a Final Fantasy game, Marlboros are like one of the most indicative dicks in Final Fantasy. I mean, the breath itself can do everything to you. So in this game, I wonder how that is going to be. Let's say if you fight that thing, like, I wonder how what that's gonna be like. And also too, what are the status effects going to be for your character? What if you get silent? Like, I wonder how that's gonna go. What if you're confused? How is that gonna go? What if you're blind? I don't know. I don't know. But I can tell you this: it's probably not gonna exist in this game, per se.
Maybe not in the method that we're thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like I think down in my heart is the reason why I like the Tales series more than Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy does good for looks, but sometimes it's the little things that just like. It's always something in there that just bothers me, and it's like I gotta go away from it. That's what happened. That's what happened with 13. 13, there was little things in there. 15, you already heard my soapbox about that. It's just I don't know. I hope it surprises me. But Final Fantasy fans, I bet you're gonna be very excited. You're gonna love this game no matter what it was, for better, for worse. Jerron, your thoughts?
I don't know how I feel. This is not going to be a day one for me. partially because I have way too much stuff to play, but also
Don't we
partially
all?
I'm a little concerned that with the and when you mean single player, I'm guessing you mean the single person party.
That's what it feels like. It's still
Yeah.
it feels like a one man army instead of a
Yeah.
group. And if you go on
I
the
don't
website,
know if it's one man army. I hope it's not.
I was saying if you go to the website, I look at the characters. There's only 4 that they show so far, and they do not look like they are with you on the battlefield.
So when I was looking at some of the battles, some of the gameplay, the battle, I did notice up in the upper left corner there were other little pictures. Now those looked like pictures of other icons or the summons, but from the lore that I've been able to glean from the teaser last year and this trailer, each icon is tied to a dominant or a person. So I guess they harness the power of that icon. So if you do have a party, and let's be honest, that's one of the mainstays of Final Fantasy is the party and the character interplay in between the party members and their own stories. Then I could see maybe you're switching in between, kind of like in Final Fantasy VII Remake. You switch in between, but I would feel more comfortable if I see some gameplay where you have other people working with you. That to me is the appeal to me for Final Fantasy 16. The graphics, I mean, they're going to look great. Whatever. That's not a big deal to me. What I'm wanting is the world building, the story, and the music. Are we going to get? Are we going to get some tragic story and some really heartstring, heart-wrenching music like Florence and the Machine doing a Stand By Me kind of stuff, or are we going to get very like, oh rad, let me shred this guitar while you do all these sick flips?
Based on the trailer, it looks like it's very traditional classic style, like like opera minus the harmony, like hee haw, like none of that stuff in there, but
I jokingly call it the possessed white children music.
Right, that's a good one.
But yeah, it's going to have that if it's going to have that to suck me in and pull me into the world, I might be able to overlook the seemingly odd choice of single person party, but I want to see more before I get excited. I'm not excited just because new Final Fantasy. I want to see more. I want to see as I get older, I am incredibly more story driven. I want to see a story and I want to see characters, and you're going to need more than 4 for that. So I don't know. Okay. That's my opinion.
Stray. I've been intrigued about this game. It's weird, and there's not a lot of games that you play a cat. I was intrigued by this, especially a cat that is partner up with a little robot in this robotic city where robots are afraid of this cat. Apparently, it's like afraid of living creatures or whatever. Either way, this game looks very simple. It looks very cute. It looks very friendly. It looks like a Jeremy Evans game. I'm intrigued by it. There's really nothing else to really tell about this game. It's just very set in the future, and it's just adventure about this cat. Looks like he's, helping this robot get home or helping it out in some sort of way while dealing with enemies and whatnot. I like it. I thought the graphic looks pretty cool. And you're talking about a game looks like a tech demo. That game looks like a tech demo, but a cat demo.
Hey, as long as it's fun, tech it away.
But I like it because it looks different as a platformer, because you normally don't play a lot of animals platforming games. They're mostly humans. So I'm intrigued, and I'm intrigued to see if they are going to be clever how to do this cat going. It's like, will this cat get some I'm not talking about like crazy abilities, but I'm talking about more of like maybe the robot can do some interesting things to help the cat, like either hack into stuff or access certain things to help with the cat get through stuff. Because you saw in the video, like we know the cat can't fight really, so it seems like you're going to be really running away most of the time and being clever ways how to do stuff, and maybe the robot can help with the battle parts of that, as you saw the cat running away from these flying drones and all this stuff.
Yeah, all these weird little enemies. That looks like it could be fun. That's That's the Jeremy Evans game.
Yeah.
It's going to end up being a game. My wife is going to insist we get because she was like, "Oh my god, that cat looks so cute," and are we going to get different cat skins and
probably different. That's funny. He's a cat skin. I bet we'll just get different cats in general, right?
Or different cats.
A black cat, a gray cat, a tabby cat.
Well, I mean, and by cat skins, I mean, can we play a tabby, a calico, a black cat, a Maine Coon, whatever like that? I don't know if they're going to go that hard, but the fact that they're going to let you knock things over like a damn cat, lick your cat's going to lick its own butt just cause. The platforming that I saw there, I'm not sure if it's cinematic or if you actually have to actively jump and hold to climb up on things and scamper up
I think it's that, especially the part where I think like it was running on top of the buildings, kind of hopping around.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I hope so because I wouldn't mind the extra challenge of a little platforming like a cat. But if not, so be it. It's from what I'm reading, if you have PlayStation Plus, you get it for no extra cost. So, although I bet you that's probably for PlayStation 5 owners. So yeah, that looks like it's going to be fun. They've talked about it for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. So I'm glad because I honestly, I think it's coming out for PS5 and PS4 if I'm correct.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
So the PlayStation Plus, if it's like Bug Snacks, it's going to be for PS5 owners. Get it at no extra cost if they're PS Plus members.
It's not a PlayStation exclusive, is it?
Yes.
It is.
It's a Blue 12 Studio.
Okay. Because Blue Point is owned by them, but the one you said Blue 12, that's not them.
Yeah, that is. Let's see. It's published by Annapurna.
Annapurna. That means it's not. It might not be exclusive then.
No, I mean it's going to be on Windows, but as far as console, but PlayStation.
I was going to say with them, it's a possibility that later on, like there's some people that did like I think Oxenfree. It looks like it'd be a great home for a Switch game. That's all I'm saying.
True.
So
yeah, if you stream it and you're online. But yeah, that's true. But for now, the only way you'll be able to play it come July 19th is if you own a PlayStation 4 or 5, or you have a decent gaming rig.
Okay.
Which actually, if I may, because this is a perfect segue into what was announced, and just briefly, what was announced for PC, something that we didn't think was coming to PC, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yeah, the remastered version.
Are you surprised? I wasn't really surprised.
After what they've been dropping on the PC, like Horizon and
God of
War, I'm not surprised because PlayStation is realizing there's money to be had on the PC.
PC is its own universe. PC is its own world. Like it's hard to put PC with the console world. Like it's a console world, then it's PC. So
and PC. The PC master race, that whole trope is there for a reason. Mm-hmm. But the fact that Sony, went from, oh no, you got to get a console to, okay, yeah, come on PC gamers, we come join the family. They're leaning more and more into PC. If they're still going to treat it like a second class citizen in their eyes, you're going to get these games a handful of years after, but they're still releasing it on the PC, and that's cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Jerome. Jerome was very upset when he heard about Spider-Man on there, and I had a discussion with him. I was like, why? What was that? What makes you so upset about it? It's like because it should be only a Sony game. I mean, Sony needs those exclusives like only on that console and whatnot. And I'm like, it's like I get it, but at the same time, these games are old by standards, right? Like it's not like they're putting like the newest PlayStation exclusive game on PC also. So like, and plus these games to me so well that they're getting extra change for it.
Yeah, Spider-Man Remastered came out on the PS4, 2018.
Yeah.
Miles Morales came out 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Horizon 2018, God of War 2017, or maybe I'm getting those reversed. But yeah, these have been out 4 or 5 years. It's cool. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I think Jerome's just pissed in general about the PS5 not getting its just desserts.
I think it's because maybe he just does right now. Right now, probably believe that. What's the point of having a PS5 right now if these games are? I guess he's looking on the horizon that sooner or later all these games are going to slowly make the PC. So what's the point of having a PS5? And I'm more of like, just worry about now, have fun.
Yeah. The point of having a PS5 is that you can play these games now, as opposed to waiting on PC for another like 4 years.
And also the argument too is also too, you shouldn't have to worry too much about it because like not everybody can. Just because these games are coming to PC doesn't mean people have the right computers for these games.
Exactly. These games can, especially if you want the graphics that are on par or exceeding a PS5, you gotta come correct with the GPU and the display, the monitor.
And then also too, you can have the argument is like, yes, they're coming to PC, but for PlayStation, if you're a PS Plus member with the premium and all this stuff, that's probably a better decision for people over there because they get a library of all these games instead of buying these separately on PC. So you got your ins and pros and cons for each side.
Because God forbid Sony actually do a cloud, like Xbox is doing.
The only person that the only company you'll never see, and they'll hold their foot to the ground, is Nintendo. Nintendo will never ever. Well, I'm going to say for now, they will never ever really push these games over there because if so, we would have seen it by now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they dipped their toes in mobile with like 3 or 4 games, and a couple of those they're shutting down anyway. So
and the main reason why is because they're so against modding. Is the reason why they will not release these on PC because they don't want people to mess with their games like that or those games and represent them and do horrific things or whatever they're imagining over there of what people could do with them. That's the reason.
That what people will do. I mean, let's be honest. It's the internet.
Yeah. I mean, look at God of War. We're going a little sidetrack, but the God of War, you saw there was like I think it was Homer versus Ned Flanders mod or something out there for that or something like that. That was like, oh, that's pretty funny. Or even like with well, no, it's not a Sony game. Never mind, I'll take that back. I was going to say the Resident Evil 2 got a lot of modded different stuff.
Oh, 2 and 3.
Yeah. So we're not going to go down there. But speaking of stuff that maybe people want to mod later because it'll be interesting to see it. Callisto Protocol coming out December 22nd. From the spiritual successors and some of the developers for Dead Space are making this game. And wowee, it looks fun as hell. I mean, like when Resident Evil... This is how awesome Dead Space to me. Dead Space came at a time when Resident Evil was in a drought, where, like, to me, like, Resident Evil was kind of losing its way. It didn't know where it wanted to go. I mean, sure, it had the title, but the replay value for it, to me, in my opinion, was not up there. That's where Dead Space came in. I think Dead Space definitely influenced a little bit of Resident Evil at that time of get back to the basics. Scare the shit out of us. That's where Dead Space was scare the shit out of us and make it where you can't kill these enemies just straight up. You got to dismember these guys.
Yeah, you can still defend yourself, but you're still going to be scared because it was very atmospheric. It was immersive.
Yeah. Now, did Dead Space kind of lose its way during the second and third one? Sure, but it still had the horror features that I still enjoy for what it is. Callisto Protocol feels like it's almost getting back to what Dead Space 1 is. And I like where it is that, like, by the looks of it, correct me if I'm wrong, that you are in this prison and some outbreaks happening and you're making out. It almost reminds me of a game I never played before, but I always want to play, The Suffering.
Yeah, that was a fun game. That was a fun damn game.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of that to the point where, like, these creatures look crazy, but the gameplay looks exactly like Dead Space, the over the shoulder. Even the little meters around the guy's neck is exactly like
Isaac. Know that's going to be health. That's going to be health.
Just like Isaac in Dead Space. So it'll be very interesting to see where this goes. What's your thought on Callisto Protocol? Does this intrigue you at all?
It looks interesting. I'm on the fence whether it's like interesting enough I want to grab it and play it, or if I want to watch someone play it. I kind of want to. I mean, it's coming out December 2nd, and I'm not certain, actually, if it's going to be PS5 exclusive. I mean, not PS5 exclusive, but next-gen exclusive or not. I think it's one of those where it should be. because of what you're seeing. I kind of want to mess with it. It's using the new Unreal Engine 5. We're seeing more and more games come out using that Unreal Engine.
Mhm.
So looks like it's coming out for PS5, the Xbox Series, and Windows. So I may end up getting it maybe on PC and playing it.
Yeah.
It looks fun. It looks like it's one of those streamable games. Like people are going to be streaming it, and it looks like it's going to be fun to just kind of turn the lights off and just get immersed in that moody atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. I hope that they do something to change the game, because the reason why I say that is because Resident Evil is still out there as the most well-known horror game, and I'm waiting for a new series to come in and do something with it. And I thought it was going to be Dead Space, but Dead Space, with the disappointment of Visceral Studios being shut down, and now a remake of the first one is happening for what it is. There goes the next big horror game to not so much compete against Resident Evil, but just to say, hey, there's other horror games other than Resident Evil. And Evil Within, I like Evil Within, but to me it's not up there yet. It's not up there yet compared to Dead Space.
Shinji Mikami did his best, but there was just too many parts missing.
Yeah. So this one here, I really hope they do something that just comes out of nowhere, of surprises, of being in an isolated place, because I like games where you're kind of isolated and you're trying to get out. That's the same thing with Dead Space. It felt isolated, and you can argue Resident Evil feels isolated too, but the way that the setting Resident Evil does, it feels like it's more like open wise instead of like there's nowhere to go, this is it. So
and it's not just isolation. I want to feel like my character, or I want to feel like, you've seen those movies where they're trapped or whatever, and you're like, you're an idiot. Why don't you just do this, and you should be able to get out of there. I want to feel like I've tried all the feasible, realistic options. I am legitimately trapped. I have no choice but to go forward. Mm-hmm. And with Dead Space Remake not coming out probably till late 2023 at the latest, or I'm sorry, earliest, late 2023. Callisto Protocol has a chance to steal all that thunder and really get everybody's attention. Mm-hmm. Especially if they make it polished, maybe have some, I don't know, that they have EA is EA. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to that later.
And this definitely, I know this is gonna. It sounds shitty, and I shouldn't say it like this, but I hope this is kind of like FU to EA for like, this is what you get for shutting down Visceral. Now we're gonna show you what happened when you didn't keep us longer. Because we were trying to get to this point.
The first 10 years of the 2000s were some of the most imaginative, inventive, next gen at the time games. Like 2000 or 2001 to 2010, you had PS2 and PS3, mm-hmm. and so many really good games and IPs and ideas came out. Lost Planet, like you said, Dead Space, Dante's Inferno, like a lot of really good ideas.
Yeah,
good ideas, things that we could be on Dante's Inferno 3 or 4 by now. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think they would have that, but you know what I mean. We could have.
There'll be a remake. Really I'm calling it right now. I think there's a remake around the corner. If Dead Space does well, I can see it because it's part of Visceral's catalog. So.
I say if Dead Space, but if the new Bayonetta game does well because Dante's Inferno just reminded me of a raunchier Bayonetta / God of War. So why not? Why not do Dante's Inferno God of War style? Like 2018, or I'm sorry, 2018 God of War. That would be.
You asking too much from EA. EA don't do that.
I'm true, but a Dante Inferno light game that would slap.
You're gonna have to go with Jedi Order. That's where your Dante Inferno imagination is gonna be. He's gonna be in that Jedi Order.
The
Jedi Survivor now. Yeah. Speaking of that, a weird one. This one caught my eye because it came out of nowhere. I think this game kind of took the weirdest turn for the state of play, and that's the futuristic skate shooter Roller Drome. This game came out of nowhere from the people that did Ollie World, Roll 7, which at the same time, when I first looked at this, I'm like, this game, at first I thought it was the same people that did Sable. If you know the indie game Sable, I believe, you're the kid with like the horn mask and everything. That animation style looks exactly like this game. But when we found out it was Ollie World, it makes perfect sense. You're just
Roll 7.
Yeah, so you're just this girl dual wielding guns or whatever weapons that you get, and you are going through this enemy base or whatever, this game show or whatever you're in, rolling and stuff. It looks so simple. Especially it gets Tony Hawk at certain points.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'll give it a try. Why not? It looks fun. They
smashed Ollie / Tony Hawk with some. I even got some feelings of a little bit of Jet Set.
Yeah.
Even though you're not rollerblading, you're still roller skating. And a little bit of My Friend Pedro with the way, you shoot the guns and target and do, gun fu kind of different directions.
Uh-huh.
It looks like they mashed all that together. And, that's the idea of a good AA studio or an A studio doing a game like that. You don't have to be AAA to put down some original bangers. Yeah,
and this game's coming out in August, so like, I'm down for it. I think this game is just gonna be fun, and if it's like Pedro, the game you're talking about, I hope there's some surprises that will just throw us off a loop. No pun intended. So,
and it looks like it is PlayStation and Windows. So,
PS4, PS5, or just
let's see.
I think it's PS4. It looks like it could handle a PS4.
Yeah, no, it's
PS4.
It's PS4, PS5, and Steam. It's going to be on Steam.
Yeah. With that, also another indie game coming that Jerron here is not too excited, and I told him I think this game is cool, and I think that he will be excited. He said the gameplay looks very I've seen them all kind of feel, but there is more to this layer based on what I have read and listened, and that is Tunic coming to PlayStation. I didn't see that coming. I honestly thought that was an Xbox thing. They have parade that game on Xbox only.
Yeah.
For the
Windows
longest
and Xbox.
Yeah. So the fact that it's coming on PlayStation was a big surprise, which now it can definitely have an opportunity to come on the Switch too, in some shape or form. This game looks awesome. I heard it's hard, but I heard it's really fun. I heard it's unique the way that you figure out the game, especially where you have to find pieces like an old school NES booklet. You have to find these pieces to solve where you need to go next, and it's kind of like, that's pretty cool. I'm intrigued by this, but Jerron, it just doesn't flock your feather. Maybe it's more than what it seems. Don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe.
I mean, I'm sure it's don't judge a book by its cover, and I'm sure that if I had the spare time, I could spin the game up, or if it was on Game Pass, install it real quick, play a little bit of it. But from what I saw, it's like a Zelda meets Dark Souls type of thing, and which is appealing. But I don't know if I'm going to have the time to invest in that.
Okay.
Now don't get me wrong. It doesn't look bad. It looks like it's a fun old time, and it looks like it's a good game. It just doesn't look like it's a good game for me.
Okay. Well, maybe hopefully down the road, if you accidentally find out selling by it, maybe we'll have a conversation about it. Let's get to the last one on the list. There was a bunch of other announcements, like the VR. You can check out the list for all those games that are coming out, which we talked about a while back. There was no scissor reel for anything, but I want to talk about this last one. It's probably the only Japanese game that they announced on here, and that is Eternights or Eternights or whatever you wanna
Eternights.
Eternights, coming to PS5 and PS4 in 2023. When I first saw this game, I thought it was an Atlas game. At first. Then when we saw the gameplay, I thought it was Bandai Namco because they did Scarlet Nexus. Because the gameplay reminds me of that. And then I was wrong on that too. Totally different developers. This game looks interesting. I mean, you got the main character kind of has like a phantom limb kind of thing. This ghost arm that can give him some abilities. There's other cast characters that do stuff. It doesn't do anything too crazy. It's not like, I mean, you've seen them all. It's kind of like based on anime looking characters. Anime characters go around doing stuff. Kind of have maybe drop a Persona bomb on there a little bit. Shout out to DC. But this is a wait and see for me. But I am intrigued by it. But it's a wait and see because it feels like it's a typical, if you enjoyed 1, 2, and 3, you'll like this one kind of thing.
It's dating sim. It definitely had dating sim elements. But it's like if dating sim met, Astral Chain and Scarlet Nexus, and then had, like you said, sprinkled some Atlas Persona in there. And then you got Eternites. But I'm also a wait and see, but I'm a wait and see not because I think it'll be bad, but because I want to see, if that's what the game is about. It does look fun. It does look like I hope it's not Persona long, because that no, because it's not Atlas. It's like we're not going to shove 200 hours down your throat, but it definitely looks like a game that I would want to at least check out and maybe even play. I mean, I don't care. I'll admit it. I like the occasional dating sim, and mix that with some action, because it looks like you have multiple people that you can that you can use in your group that have different abilities. Obviously 3 or 4 of them are girls you could probably date, and then the other one's like a guy that's following the anime trope. He's your rival, and then he becomes your best friend, and then you go kill God together. Who knows?
Yeah, I have no problem with dating games. I like social games too. I like games with a social. Now, granted, Atlas did do Catherine. I thought Catherine was a good kind of like a dating kind of game. I think it's worth playing again. Shout out to Jerome. I got him that on the Switch. I might get that on the Switch later myself. I got it on PS4, but I kind of want on the Switch too. But anyways, yeah. So with that overall, I thought it was good for what it did. I thought it was a great way for PlayStation to shoot out for what they're showing for 2023, right? Like overall, there's not a lot of games coming out this year based on their demonstration. So that's why it gets a little bit of maybe like a B to me, because
can't forget Street Fighter 6.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you said that. I would have lost my mind. People would have been so mad. Let's get into that for a minute before I wrap it up. Thank you so much, because this game looks awesome. Like Street Fighter 6 looks awesome. Like the fact that you have this open world, not open world, you got this HUD, you can walk around in the city and everything like that. The art direction really cool, with the hip hop kind of lore to it. And let me tell you, I probably won't play this, but it will be fun as hell to watch it, because it looks amazing for what it is. They stepped up. Capcom stepped up. Like wow. Like it almost like if this game does really well, that bar is going to be hard to cross over.
People are not making fun of them for that horrible logo they showed earlier this year. They're like, okay, we'll let that pass. This game, they changed the logo, by the way, but
yeah, which is for the better. Which it was clever how they did it. It was clever.
Yeah, but the battle hub, like you mentioned, the fact that a lot of it seemed to be focused around Metro City, at least the single player. The fact that it looks like there's a single player story campaign.
They said that this is influenced the world. I think it's based on or influenced by Alpha 3, I want to say.
It's like a sequel to Street Fighter 3 Third Impact, and also the Street Fighter Alpha series. I don't know. I stopped following the Street Fighter story saga long ago, so I know that their games kind of jump around in the timeline here and there. But the characters, I mean, you have newer looking characters, and I haven't looked at the leak, but there's already been a leak of the release list of characters that Capcom's going to announce. So there's that. But the fact that it's designed, I'm predicting this now, is going to suck in a whole bunch of people curious about fighting games, people who don't even play fighting games. It's going to suck them in. It just
looks appealing, regardless. Yes. Like, they did a good job of just getting your attention.
Exactly. And the fact that they're introducing like revolutionary modern or classic controls where you don't have to worry about memorizing all these different sequences for moves, kind of like button assist to jump into the game faster. It's designed to get players having fun playing the game without being bogged down in a training mode.
Which we've been seeing that a lot in the past couple of fighting games.
Yeah, you have to. the fighting game community is aging up. And if you want to get the newer kids in there, pull them away from Smash and Nickelodeon and stuff like that, you've got to make these cool as hell looking fighting games accessible. You know, I'm old. I'm old as shit, and I still like playing fighting games. But I know it's very annoying to get into some of the this move and this frame data and this and blah 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 blah. So Street Fighter 6 looks like it's going to be the Minecraft of fighting games.
Yeah, let's just hope they don't do repetitive re-releases of the game of the year, the Ultimate Edition bullcrap, which they'll
Tournament
probably
Edition,
do.
Ultra Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, that I hope they don't do that, but
I mean
okay.
they're going to, but I would prefer they didn't.
Okay.
They did it for 4, they did it for 5. Screw it, why not?
Does that make you want to play this game?
I would watch it. I don't know if I will actually jump back into Street Fighter, but this one is the one that's tempting me the most.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm gonna have to think on that because I will pay more attention to this than I did Street Fighter 5. I will tell you that.
Okay. Right on.